Hello friends, it's Stephanie, and I am back with another edition of my Traveler's Notebook journey from Behind the Designs. And today I wanted to dedicate a whole video to my business planner setup. So I've done them, introduced them throughout a few videos, but today it's going to be all about using a Traveler's Notebook for business. All right, so as you know, I have a wide, I'm using a wide, I'm using a narrow, and I'm using now an A5. So it's quite the system that I have been developing. It is not a in-stone system, so don't, think for any moment that I have this all figured out, because I don't. But I want to show you what I've been doing thus far. And there will be some big changes coming in 2026 for how I decide to proceed with planning. So I'm going to show you what I've got so far. And this is the majority of what I do when I use my business planner is in this wide. So I've been bouncing back and forth. I think I've told you between wide and narrow. And I like both sizes. I think if I wasn't probably doing anything business, I might deviate more towards the narrow size. But for things related to business, and especially if you are a small business, how you plan is going to, and what you need to do is going to kind of determine what you need planner size-wise, if that makes any sense. So a lot of the times, and maybe it's easy for some and not for others, but at least for me, I have discovered that it's really hard to separate personal from business. And in a way, it kind of doesn't matter because my small business is really intertwined with my personal, meaning my business started with a blog, and that blog was all about, and it still is, home decor DIY, crafts. It had planning mixed in, very few sprinkling of recipes, but it was not just planning. So it has many facets. So, and that's just the blog. There's, as you know, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, whatever, you name it. It is all there. So the first thing I'll probably mention to you is with regard to business. If you find a social media platform that is working for you, then stick with it. Don't feel you have to jump to every social media platform because it's out there. For example, there is, TikTok. Really, in my view, I don't do TikTok. I do have an account set up, but I don't do it. To me, TikTok is really just a faster version of an Instagram or Facebook or even YouTube reel or short. Really. I mean, that's all it is. Some of it's funny, some of it's not, some of it's teaching and learning, on and on and on. But the point is that if you're finding that a social media isn't working for you, or that it's not delivering what you want it to, then don't feel pressured to stick with that platform if it's not working for you. So what I have compiled into my wide is the things that either one, matter to me, or two, I find are worthwhile. And then they all cover all facets of behind the designs. We're talking, product promotions, videos, planning, how I do things, crafts, home decor, newsletter, Instagram, Facebook, the platforms that I use. So all of that is in this tiny little book. It seems tiny when you think about all those things, but again, 2026, I'm going to be making a slight change up, but I do believe that the wide will be staying in the picture. Again, more to come on that later. Let's talk about now. So this is currently my Planner Perfect wide traveler's notebook. This is, and I knew I'd forget the name as soon as I hopped on. You think I wouldn't. It is currently on the retired list. It'll come to me maybe. If not, I will pop it onto the screen. It is this gorgeous pebbled, deep purple color. Like, it's deep enough in certain lightings it might look like it's black or dark gray, but it's really purple. So I have been using this. I don't always use it daily. I think, and that's where some of that change is going to be coming in 2026. So, through different parts of our life, in seasons, we have different needs. So there was a time, obviously, when super, super busy, full-time job, multiple side jobs, child rearing, home, maintenance, and, taking care of home and personal, if that even existed, all of that. So, things have shifted for me, less personal now, more business. So I mainly do business. So it's more business with a sprinkling of personal. So what I do is I took in this first setup, since starting back with Planner Perfect, I had introduced a traveler's notebook in January of this year. That was the traveler's notebook, with Planner Perfect. It kind of trailed off. It wasn't clicking at the time. And then I jumped back in about April, was fully into it by May. And I have now completely, planning wise and almost reference information wise, ditched the disc system. Planning wise, for sure, it's gone. Could I use a disc planner right now? Absolutely. The thing about disc planning is just that you have the ability to move pages around. That's really all it is, but that doesn't say that you can't make a traveler's notebook work for you. So, just keep that in mind. But, so anyhow, let me show you my books. I've shown these a few times before. I've put some books in, taken some out. That's the beauty of the books, right? Is because you can take, if I don't want to carry around my projects book, which this is actually what it's labeled, I don't have to. I can keep it, I can pull this out, put another book in. I do have a 6-month calendar book that I set up as a test. I'm still kind of testing it. More to come on that. But I don't know that I have enough answers to, share it. So what I did was I took the 6-month out and I put back in my projects, because I have found that I am more coming back to this more and more. So at the moment, and I'll do a few showings of it. So at the moment I have projects. I have a 12-year plan book for YouTube and Instagram. And then I have a 12-month plan book for the blog and the shop. And then I have a 12-month plan book for the newsletter and everything else. And then, of course, my notepad. So it's a lot of calendars. I'm not going to lie about that. Right up front, I'm going to tell you, it's a lot of calendars. Now, keeping them separate when I first started back in the system, that's worked really great, because it helped me funnel down and categorize what are the things that mattered most, what things can I kind of combine, that type of thing. So we're nearing the end of the year, and that's why I have some changes for 2026, because I'm realizing I don't believe I need 3 12-month calendar books. So that is one thing I will divulge is going to go away. So this is all going to have to be contained into one system. What I'm going to do yet, I don't have all the answers. So again, more to come on that. But you have to decide, what is it for your small business that is important to you. So for example, you will see none of my books were about finance. Anything to do with business and really personal finances, I do that all electronically. I do it in Excel. I have spreadsheets. I don't mess with that system because it works. I don't need to write down. I don't need to have a finance section in my planner or a finance section in my book. It's not necessary, but you may find that you need to. And that's completely, up to you. You know what you need for your business. And the first step you should do, if you're unsure, sit down with a piece of paper, write down all the things you would like to do for your small business or within your small business. Then you want to start categorizing them by, is it a calendar? Is it a structured book? Can I make it non-structured? Start defining how you'd like to manage those things. And my suggestion is you go through the list, categorize what's important, what's not. So if something isn't all that important, or if it's something you can do electronically, like for me, finances, cross finances off your list. Don't bother including it in your setup if you don't need to. So again, that's just an example from how I plan. The other thing is, and I was going to pull it out and I did not, so I apologize for that. But Planner Perfect has an errand runner book. It's set up specifically for errand running. So it basically is the book. You get 2 columns on a page, and there's like short lines. So there's, a space, there's lines, and then lines. That is an excellent book if you are wanting to track your finances in a way that's all in one book. So for example, in that book, you could say, if it's income coming in and you want to track that sale, write it in green. If it is a supply order that you buy that enables you to make the things, maybe write that in red, that type of thing. You know how I am about the color coding. I don't know if I put it back in here or not. I do have an extra one floating around somewhere. It might be in here. I can pull it out to show you. I will also link that video below. My biggest tip for managing multiple things in one system, color coding. So let me see, is it in here? And as a sidebar, as I'm looking for it, this is my A5. It's not in here. And I'm going to talk ever so briefly about that after I finish this. Let me get... Okay, so I had to go pull this out of my other planner, my Narrow. This is what I mean by color coding. So when I see these colors in my planner, I immediately know what they belong to. And this list hasn't changed other than I add ambassador. It's never changed. So it helps to have a color coding system for your business. So that's my first number one tip. I mean, it's helped me tremendously. And here's why, because what I was doing was I was taking up to this point, and I will continue to the end of the year, I was taking these 3 calendars. I was sort of like pre-planning in them. I was sort of pre-planning and done planning. Like it's already been done and I'm writing it in for reference. So I was taking this information when it was pre-planning and I'm dumping it into my monthly plan book, because that monthly plan book tells me what I just need to focus on for this month. But again, that's multiple calendars. I don't need all these, and that will change. But I'm going to keep it up till the end of the year. I'm going to finish my books. So we'll dive into that. So projects for me, and again, they'll be different for you. Projects for me are things that I think about when they relate to things I will be sharing across my blog, YouTube, and sometimes other social media. Mostly projects are things for my blog, but again, it could be anything. So I did just finish a blog post, got it up, I think yesterday. So I will show you my page for that. So all I did in here, this is a pre-formatted, let me see if I can find you a blank page. It's a pre-formatted project book. So when you go to order your journal on Planner Perfect's website, you would go to the drop-down menu and look for the option for project pages. So this is pre-formatted. You get a project page, you get multiple dot grid pages before your next project page. So typically for me, I don't need that much room, so I'm going to be modifying it slightly. But, oops, this is the one I just finished. So this was a fall centerpiece that I've been dying to finish for weeks now. And I got lucky because I finished it on Sunday, got all my pictures. It was a sunny day, got some great pictures. And then all this week so far, it's been dark and rainy and chilly and all the leaves are falling. I just heard the geese leaving today. So we are headed into fall. But this is really going to become my Thanksgiving table centerpiece. And I needed to get it done. So what I did was this is when I started it. I kid you not. I started thinking about this back in August. And, I would write down things that I kind of wanted to put in it. I'd see it in the store. I'm like, yeah, I want to include that. And then I put on here the date I finished it. And then, which was the 31st of October. However, I didn't actually get prop photos, I'll call them, or a photo shoot, however you want to call it, until this past Sunday that just passed. So, I wrote down all my materials. I've jotted down a few notes. I did decorate these pages because why not? I can. My inspiration all started with this wood dough ball, dough bowl. I have a problem saying dough bowl. I keep saying dough ball, but whatever. It's just me chit-chatting. So it all started with this as the inspiration. And then, here's my finished piece and so forth. So that's how I'm using the project book. I haven't used it regularly. I put it in, I took it out, I put it in, I took it out. But I have some projects that I'm over having them cluttering my office. So they gotta go. They're done. I need to get some prop photos for them for the blog, and they gotta go because they're just like cluttering up things. So they are all going to get put in here. This is going to become my get it done projects for however long it takes to get all those things done. So I am actively working in this now. As you can see, I do have sort of a theme of flowers, except for this one, it's kind of white. I love the daisy, but in relation to these other books, I wish I had a darker color book, but that's beside the point. So this first book has taken multiple changes. It is currently, it's my YouTube and Instagram planning calendar. And at first it was my everything calendar. Then I started getting in these other ones and started paring it down. So at the moment, I'm going to flip through some pages and I'll do that for each of these. Every month, I don't always do the same like decoration every month. I do kind of vary it depending on how I feel that day. What do I think I want to focus on? That type of thing. So my suggestion is, again, I can take all three of these books and make them into one. I did not need to have three different books. But in order for me to go from disc planning to traveler's notebook, where in disc, everything you could categorize like by a simple tab or move the page, you can still do that in a traveler's notebook. It's just going to take a little bit of reworking. So to help my brain work it out, I got 3 different calendars, but these will all be condensed into one. So this is typically what I do. Again, this one here is my YouTube and Instagram. You can see I have pink, and pink means blog. So back in March, I was kind of using this for everything. And I think that's because I ordered these books and I didn't have them in yet. But I would just go through, I write in, thoughts. I do use a lot of sticky notes. So when I'm not exactly sure, I put in a sticky note, write an idea of what it is I want to do. If I do it, I take the sticky note out, write it in, it's done. Some things are repetitive. So like maybe if I'm going to be doing, a weekly plan with me, that's repetitive. So that sticky note might go from week to week to week, that type of thing. So in the beginning, that's how I did it. Over here, I used the goal or the sidebar for goals. I just, kind of colored in some pages. I would list, as you can see, I didn't list any videos here because I just started doing it here. So sometimes the pages morph, sometimes they don't. Over here was just some notes to do. Again, I was trying to keep things categorized, by category. So for example, journal ideas and garden and home and garden, those are blog items. They're not YouTube. So as I said, in the beginning, I was using this for all things. And then I kind of went down to just YouTube and Instagram. So, usually with Instagram, I hate to say it, but I'm usually writing that in after. I haven't quite gotten very good at planning or pre-planning Instagram just yet. So this is just so that when I go back and look at May, I can see, oh yeah, I did that, that type of thing. Again, same kind of setup. Here's a brain dump page. I literally didn't write anything because I think I was using my monthly book. June, well, just quick flip because as you can see, June was, quite busy. I didn't write anything. July. And again, I kind of kept the same thing, like layout. Still color coding, and now I'm just down to really, did I miss a page? I didn't. Okay. So this is, this actually can go here. Again, same setup. Then there was that brain dump, didn't write anything. So as you can see, some pages are used, some pages aren't. I didn't look at this as, oh gosh, I didn't use it. I do feel bad I didn't use those pages, but they don't keep me awake at night because the purpose of doing this was to organize for myself where I'm going to put everything, how am I going to manage it, and so forth. So this is the blog book. And again, same concept. I would just tend to write themes down on the side, because then I kind of look at the plan and see, oh yeah, right, April's Easter, that type of thing. Again, same setup on the pages. These were I tended to put these by category of my menu in my blog, which I've changed multiple times. So what was relevant here is not relevant now. So here's May. I really utilized my column in May. May was a busy time. I really, really used this. June, I think I kind of slipped off a little bit. Yeah, so see. And then we had July. Busy. August. And you can see here across from the 1st all the way through the 14th, I was busy slamming out blog maintenance. I had a lot of things I needed to catch up on. So I took all this time to do it. But I still had time to do all these things. Now, notice, so part of the blog maintenance was SEO. I had a lot to do for SEO. So I had to accommodate that. This was just another fun way to do this. And then we go September, and I started covering this. You can see in September, I didn't. Now this is my new menu. So I have them kind of sectioned out by these ideas. So again, this is the blog book, and that's why I can do that. So with the blog, again, it has more areas than say YouTube. So when I get to the point of taking these and combining them, I'm going to need to figure out how I'm going to manage that. So that'll be a new thing that I'll be working on. So this was the kind of everything else book, mostly newsletter though. So here's some May. Nope. You probably hear a plane going overhead. So you can see as you get farther out, it comes hard. It's harder to get this book to stay open. July, again, just, this book was pretty much set up almost the same. I've changed a little bit of it, but as you can see, the two that I tend to always, it's not that I do sort of forget, are Facebook and CPE, which is Creative Planning Expressions. This is the group on Facebook that my goal in 2026 is to be more in management of, more involved with. So, through all the pages, I did things on these months, but I just didn't put them in. So, I didn't pre-plan, but I didn't go back and write in what was done. So, just as a sidebar. And then we, again, see Facebook CPE. So that is just a glimpse into the calendar portions, my project planner. So just quickly before I go, I want to talk about what I'm kind of doing with an A5 if I've got this, right? So let me kind of tuck this off aside. Let me bring this beast over. Okay. So this A5 is new. It is, as you can see, not very well set up yet. I just kind of tucked some things in there. This is, I think, the Planner Perfect. I got this in a box way back. I think her original tip-ins when she hand painted them. So I don't know. I just kept it in here. I just like it in there. So in here, I have a 2026. I've already come to one conclusion. I don't need those 3 books, but the data that's in there has to go somewhere. So that's where this book is going to come into play. This A5 book is going to be the place where I put everything. Not necessarily personal, but everything. Anything from these 3 books is going to go in here. So let me show you if I can find one that is blank. Okay, I was just making sure there was a number of pages. So this is what the A5 looks like. And it is way bigger than these boxes. But what's going to have to happen in here is each one of these boxes will contain, most of the time, multiple things. So how am I going to do that? By bringing in my color card. This is the only way I can get all of this information planned out or organized in here. So that's why I said this is a huge, huge help to have this color card. And instantaneously, I know what each color represents. Now, the only thing I haven't quite figured out, so where's December? Okay. With a 12-month book, you get 4 pages in between. So 2 full page spreads. Now, if I'm managing all these sections, I only have 4 pages to work with. So I know that automatically I'm probably going to need 1 page for my newsletter. My blog and shop can probably go split on a page. Facebook and the group can go on another page, and then probably YouTube and Instagram can all go on there. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it at the moment. But I have way more room in here to work with, and I do think it's going to work. So for, next year, I know for a fact that this is going to come into play, but I am still going to have a wide. So for all the nitty-gritty details, you're going to have to stay tuned for that. While I have your attention, so this is the book I originally had in my A5, but I talked about getting a darker book for my moody purple. Move that aside. Now, I did get this one off of Buy Sell Trade. So it does say Happy Halloween, but that doesn't bother me. It is a dot grid, which I always have liked blank pages, but I'm finding that when it comes to business, having dot grid sometimes is nice. So I'm putting this in my A5 now. I will continue, using this one. And then I have my A5 book. This is my Daisy book, and I've kind of flipped a few pages. I've decorated them. This is where I'm kind of keeping my content sort of reference style planner and commonplace planning items. So this is kind of like a reference book, I'll say. I don't necessarily do any planning in it. I do have some pages that are designated by month, and in there I'm writing basically ideas down of things that come to mind that I could do for content in that month. So then when it comes to planning, I can pull this open. Let's say I'm looking at December. I can go to the December, decide if I don't have something to fill up all the content that I need for that month, I can go to December, see what I've got, fill it in. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is kind of a multiple planner setup. Could I get away with using just an A5? Probably, because again, you have more space. But if I'm going to go out and about, I don't know if I'd want to carry an A5. That's where the wide is really going to become helpful. Because if I stick with, so if I take these calendars out and let's say this becomes the calendar, I still have the issue of projects. And there was another thing I thought of. Projects and, my monthly plan book for the sub box. So, this, I would basically have to maybe make this projects, and then I can have, the sub box monthly plan book here. But then that's going to make this super, super heavy. I can tell you right now with the 3 books that are in here, it's pretty heavy. So, this isn't I'm using daily, I should say. This is not a daily planner. I wanted to show you what I am doing currently because you may find that it'll help you out. I don't have this, totally figured out yet, but I am out of the disc system, and that's what counts because everything is doable. You just have to find the way to make it work for you. So let me get this closed up here. Okay, so this is what I want to drive home. If you are wanting to try the Traveler's Notebook system as a business planner, or you're already in it and needing ideas on how to set it up for small business, intertwine it with personal, and more, definitely you'll want to watch this video, which we're now at the end of the video and I'm just saying that, but you'll definitely want to catch this. There is always room regularly for improvement within my planning system. Like I said, do I need to use a wide? No. I like to because I have the covers. I love using the Traveler's Notebooks. I find, one book works one way for one thing and this work, that type of thing. So the best thing for you to do is to take maybe your current Traveler's Notebook and take a look at how you can section it. The best way to section off your planner is to use removable 3M tabs. I didn't bring them, into the video here, but if you want to give it a test, and let's say you have the, you have a blank journal you're going to use. Let's just use that as an example. You might draw out your month on the planner, the dot grid pages, and then 5 pages in, you realize, I need a place to track my sales. So that's where you can use that sticky note to put a tab on there and say Etsy sales or store sales or, whatever. So by using removable tabs and post-it notes, you're expanding your traveler's notebook in ways you probably aren't even thinking of at this point. I only know that it works because I've done it. So, will I be doing that with this big A5 book? Absolutely. This book will eventually have some tabs in it because I'm getting up in the information that's in there and I kind of want to mark certain pages. So absolutely, that's going to be done soon. This card really kind of needs to go in here, which it will. So really, here's another thing I just wanted to briefly mention. If you're an Etsy seller, you may be wondering, how you can get into the habit of using a specific book. For example, if I were to make, do I have the book in here? Oh, well, my projects. I can use that as an example. If I were to make this project book something that I want to remember to look at regularly, which I kind of need to, so I will be utilizing this very tip I'm about to give you. I need to remember to look in here more often. What is left undone? What isn't completed? And so forth. For me, having a page like this where I have the finished pictures tells me I've already completed that project. It's out for content. It's already posted. I'm good. So as you're using it, if you don't see those final pictures, then you'll know, hey, I didn't finish this. So I want to get into a better habit of using this. So the only way to do that is pretend this is my monthly plan book. It's not, but let's pretend this is the monthly sub box plan book. If I want to get into the habit of looking at this book more frequently, I need to schedule it. I need to put it in my calendar. So if I am someone who normally looks at my month spread, I'm going to say, you know what, on this day, I'm going to put a highlight again. Let's see. I'm sure there's a color on here I didn't use. So let's just say brown. I don't see brown here. Let's say brown is the color for do a check on your project book. All I'm going to do is in the calendar, I'm going to go put a brown, swatch a color, and I'm going to write check project book. That is the only way you're going to get into a better habit of using a book if it's not something you need to access daily. Hopefully that made sense. So, a very long-winded video, but I really wanted to create a dedicated business planner set up and walk through for you. It's already set up, it's working. I've added in an A5. But these are working. So if it's working for me, maybe it'll be working for you as well. You never know, right? So there it is. I think, long story short, I hope that these things that I've mentioned will offer you some tips to setting up your own business planner using a traveler's notebook. It is 100% doable. You don't have to add a second one. I did just because I wanted to give it a try initially, but I'm thinking I like it a lot. And I have more room. So again, just as a glimpse or a glance into how I was doing it and what I've already discovered, you may find having 3 books in the beginning is going to work for you. It did for me. It helped me It actually helped me become better about managing my blog more. So it does work. Long term, I don't want to have 3 calendars plus this one, and then my plan book. So long term, the 3 books are going away, but it did work. It did help me get into the habit of looking through these books. So there's some tips for you. I hope it's helped you to maybe want to set up your own or tweak what you have. If you have something and you want to see if it's going to work, use those post-it notes and removable tabs. You will find that they will work the best for you to section out pages so that you can get a better grip on managing whatever sections you need to manage or categories. Or, if you only do one video or like one social media, ideas for YouTube videos. So just a little glimpse into my business planner. Again, I hope it's given you some ideas. I love my setup. And I really don't think I'll go back to discs ever, because I think with discs, I was over planning, and that caused me to miss doing the things I should have been doing because I planned them. Hopefully that you understood that. So now I'm in a system where I can glance at it. Oh, right. Yes. And then I go do it. Easy peasy. So I'll just stop right now because I can just keep going. And when I'm passionate about it, I can keep going and going and going. But I'll stop for now. I think you get the idea. If you have any questions about, how I would use this or how I would do that, because you're thinking about it for your own setup, drop me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I am all about creating solutions to problems. So if you have a problem, drop me a comment. I might be able to help you. All right, so I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button, as well as the bell notification. I would love to have you stick around, share it with your friends. Totally appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. That's it for today.